Welcome, Relationship 101. As always, I am your humble and ever so knowledgeable guy through the rough and tumble waters of relationship. Well, I won't say relationship hell, but the waters of relationship. I guess that's a better way of putting it. This is kind of like a part two to the video that was put up either last week or a couple minutes ago. Depends on when I decide to put it up there. So there you go. You can figure that part out. You can do the math on your own. As always, if you know me on Facebook, send me a message, and I will take any comments or any questions you have, and I will do my best to answer them in a video. If not, you can always just answer the little email that's right down there, and I'll get that. Or leave it in the comment section. As always, make sure to hit the like button if you actually like the video. I assume if you're watching, you like it. This video probably will not be as long as the last one because I just kind of got on a roll. It'd been a minute. I was feeling myself on that one, and I kind of just went with it. So I'll try to keep this one in the better, shorter time frame than usual of like 15 to 20-minute videos like I usually do. I want to start this one. I want to start this video talking about something that a lot of people probably don't realize that how well this relates to their relationship, but it's very true with most relationships that a bad relationship is a lot like a shitty house. Most people don't want to admit that, but it's very true. A bad relationship is just like a shitty house or a crappy house. Now, here's the thing about houses. If your house can't deal with the daily shocks of everyday life, it's a crappy house. Houses exist to provide a comfortable space for you to live in, and if they're so fragile that they'll collapse whenever you try to, live in them, then you should probably move out ASAP. Same can be said for a relationship. I see a lot of very sad people going, oh, I can't tell him when I'm upset, he'll leave me, or I can't tell her I love her, that'll ruin this thing we've got going on, or I need this dirty kind of sex to feel content, but if I ask them to participate in such filth, I'm sure they won't have anything to do with me. If this is the case, it's better if the house collapses. Your crappy relationship is just like a crappy house. Relationship exists to serve your mutual needs. If the only way you can remain within a relationship is to suppress your most natural urges, then that is by definition a shitty relationship. And if the only way you can keep this relationship functioning is by doing the metaphorical equivalent of cooking eggs on a hair curler over the toilet, then I'll tell you the best possible thing you can do is to shove the fridge into the kitchen, see if the floor actually collapses, and if it does, then find a better house. Why? Because your crappy relationship is like a crappy house. I say shove the fridge into the kitchen because, in a crappy house, the kitchen floor can't sustain the weight of the fridge. So you shove the fridge into the kitchen. If the floor collapses, get the fuck out. Someone you are dating should be able to deal with who you are. Maybe not who you are at your worst. I generally find you at your worst is the sort of thing you should be making apologies for and trying to keep locked inside of a closet as frequently as possible. But they should be able to cope with you having an ordinary bad day, or you raising your voice, or you needing something that you wake up every morning wanting. Otherwise, you don't have a relationship. You have an illusion. And illusions will inevitably break. So I hope a lot of you get that and understand what that means. That situation, if you're with somebody who you are not being yourself with, you're doing yourself and them a disservice. You're fucking up everything you could possibly try to have with this person. It's bad. So you need to just walk away from it. Stop fooling yourself into thinking that it's going to get better. If you have been with this person for the last X amount of months, and the entire time you've been with them, all you have done is fake who you are, your relationship is bullshit. Because they're not dating you. They're dating the you think they want you to be. What's the point of that? If everything you do in a relationship is everything they want to do in a relationship, then they might as well be dating themselves. You're just like an extra appendage that they just take around with them to show off every once in a while. Hey, check it, I got 3 arms. Ooh, what kind of shit is that? Just limbs that you don't need. If you don't think for yourself in the relationship, what is the point of you being in the relationship? Go be by yourself if you're not gonna think about anything. If you're not gonna contribute to the relationship, go be by yourself. You're like a minion. Exactly. You're just there to be like, yes, master, yes, master. You're just there to be a yes man. And in real life, nobody actually needs a yes man. Like, they work great in movies, but in real life, who the fuck actually wants somebody that goes around behind them and tells them every idea they have is a good idea? Because the reality is, every idea you have is not a good idea. At best, 50% of every idea you will have will be a good idea. And that's being lenient. That's being nice about some shit. So, no. Don't be anybody else's yes man. Be your own yes man. How about do that? Go be your own yes man. Go walk around telling yourself, I can do this. Yes, that's a great idea. But only like 50%, because even you, half of your ideas are probably still going to be bad. The next one I want to talk about the lines in a relationship. There are lines in a relationship. Everybody knows that there are lines you don't cross in relationships. But there are also lines between lust, infatuation, and love. Those 3 things, and like. Those 4 things, yeah. Like. There are lines between liking, lust, infatuation, and love. And they're not always clear. Because you can like a person, and you can lust after them at the same time. But you realize you don't actually love them. You just wanted to bone them. You know, because we all have this ideal of what we think this person is like, that we feel this attraction towards, and you don't know them yet, but in your head you've built up this, they're like this person. But then when you talk to them, the reality is completely different. You've lusted after this person for forever. I've even done this. You know, I lusted after somebody for like 7 years, and then when I finally got them, I was like, oh my God, don't talk, because you are annoying as shit to me. But it's one of those hard-learned lessons. You lust after somebody for so long, when you finally get them, one, you're going to be slightly disappointed, because in your mind, you have built the sex with them up to be so incredible, because you've lusted after them for so long. You imagine that the sex with them is going to be like the best sex you will ever have in your life. You need to get that delusion out of your head now, because it's kind of like when you haven't played a video game, or if you haven't seen a movie and everybody you know tells you that this movie or this video game is going to be the best movie ever, best video game in life. It's going to be Amazeballs. And then you play it, and you get The Dark Knight Rises, or you get Batman Origins, and it's all crap. It's just bad. Or you get Dark Souls, and you just end up being angry with yourself because you die so many fucking times. But you can be infatuated with a person, which usually starts off as liking somebody, and you become infatuated with them. Like, you love everything about them. You're just like, oh, I love everything about this person. And the reality is, you don't actually know as much about this person as you think you know about this person, because you only know what you see of them. And what you don't see, your mind fills in those blanks. And when it fills in those blanks, it's filling in, once again, it's filling it in based off of what you know and what you think you know about this person. So it's still not a 100% guaranteed clear picture of who this person really is. You're still lying to yourself. You're blurring the lines. So the line between liking, lusting after a person, infatuation, and love are not always clear. Now, those states they can coexist, which makes telling the difference between them a little tricky. They can also be mistaken for one or another, though to disadvantaging states, like huge different states, but they can be mistaken for one another. Like, you can be lusting after somebody and think you're in love, but all you really want to do is just have sex with them. You're lusting after them, you know. And there are tons of people who think they love somebody, but all they really do is just like them. You know, remember back in school when it's like, oh, I like you, like I for real like you, like, you know, do you like me? Check box 1 or no, you know, yes or no. Like, you like a person, but you don't love them. You just like them. Like I've said before, there are stages of love. Like, you know, you can be with somebody and love them, but you don't love them the same way they love you, because everybody, like I said before in the previous video, everybody matures differently in a relationship. So just because you both started together does not mean you're at the exact same point when you drop the L word. Or when you do drop the L word, even if you do drop it, does not mean you both mean the same amount of love from it. So you have to be ready. You have to be willing to accept that. That's a given automatically. You have to be willing to accept the fact that people love differently. Not everybody is going to love as hard as you do, or as much as you do, or even in the same way that you do. If you can't accept those facts about love in general, you shouldn't be dating anybody at all, because it's going to end in heartbreak for you. Because you're going to love somebody. You're going to love somebody like Coretta Scott King loved Martin. And they're going to love you like a 9-year-old loves Pokemon right before they turn 10. You are great, and I love you right now. But the minute I turn 10, Pokemon is so kiddish. But your love is so strong. Their love is just like passing infatuation. It's a whim. They love you at the moment because you're hot shit right now, but they're not going to love you later. Understand that love is a completely different thing for everyone. Everybody loves at different degrees. Everybody loves in different ways. Be acceptable of the way people love you when you're in a relationship. Know that they do love you. Just because their love isn't as strong or in the same way as yours is, does not mean in any way, shape, or form that they don't love you. They do. It just may not be the way you love them. And there's nothing wrong with that, because depending on how long you're together, you eventually, what happens in most relationships is if you're together long enough, you start together, you mature differently, and then eventually you end together. You meet back again, and you eventually love each other at the exact same time, in the exact same way, and everything is okay. But you have to be willing to get to that point. You have to be willing to be okay with the back and forth intermediate that happens along the way. You know. Now, if we believe with the preloaded cultural notions that have been fed to us by stories, movies, and social norms our whole lives that we are in love, then we also tend to expect a kind of happy ever after scenario. All right? That's what happened for Cinderella, right? She married her prince and lived happily ever after. Or did she marry her prince and then down the line discover, in the rush of infatuation, she had signed her life away to a narcissistic prick? See that? But we don't know. The story's just like, oh, she found her prince, they fell in love, lived happily ever after. But think about that. Cinderella's a perfect example. You know, she met a dude one night, knew nothing about him other than the fact that he was a prince. He knew nothing about her other than the fact that she looked good in a dress and that she wore glass slippers. What does he do? He spends countless man hours and days searching for this one girl to fit a glass slipper, and when he finds her, he marries her without knowing anything else about her. I don't even think he even knew her name. Like, oh, he couldn't have known her name because he went around looking based off a girl who could fit the slipper. So he didn't even know her name, but he was willing to marry this woman, and she was willing to marry him just because they met and kissed and danced. Infatuation. He was infatuated with her, with the way she looked. She was infatuated with him because she was poor and saw this really cute-looking guy that actually talked to her, but they knew nothing about each other. And that's what infatuation can come down to. You know, it's very delicate and it's very tricky, but you have to be able to tell the difference between them. between infatuation and lust and love and like, so that you know what you're getting yourself into. Um, or you're getting your family into, because you never know. You got to know what you're getting. Because here's the thing: who you date and the ramifications of who you date. Think of it as a nuclear explosion. When you start dating that person, that's the initial detonation. The bomb has just gone off. Throughout the course of your entire relationship, the bomb is exploding. It's constantly just evolving and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. You might get married. You might have kids. Your kids might have kids. Some kids might die. You might get into a car accident. It all gets bigger, causing the relationship to become bigger and bigger, much like a nuclear explosion, until you have this enveloping cloud that is your relationship, that covers your life, your significant other's life, if you have kids, your kids' life, your friends' lives, families' lives, and then there is fallout. If the relationship goes bad, there is fallout. There's always collateral damage. Your kids, your friends, your family, all of it sprinkles down. It covers all of them. Your horrible relationship that started, that you thought was going to be so great, and has now turned into the worst experience of your life, has now sprinkled the lives of people who weren't even directly involved in this relationship. So think about all of this before you get into a relationship with somebody. Know what you're getting into. Know what you're asking this other person to get into with you. And if more so than even just that, know yourself. Know who you are before you ask somebody else to get to know you. Because what good does it do them? If you don't know you, how are they going to know you? See? So I found the checklist online, and I'm fairly happy with it. It's cool, and I like it because I wanted to have something, a reference point when I want to think about whether any particular relationship is healthy, which I think is a good point to use for this. Whether the relationship is good and healthy, and whether it's a good one. You can use it to know whether or not you're really in love, rather than getting carried away with a fascinating individual and then really hot and having really hot sex. Think of this checklist, and really think about it. And see if you're happy. Tick off all of the points for every one of these that you consider that works for you in this situation. Number one, you feel connected to your partner on a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual level. Kind of let you know how you are with that person, like that you actually do have something other than superficial stuff in common, or other than just hot sex in common, or that you're just infatuated. You're actually connected to this person. You and them can talk about stuff for hours, and you're good. Number two, I like who I am when I'm interacting with my partner. I feel they stretch me and encourage my personal growth. There's one of my friends, when me and him first started becoming friends, we had a conversation about friendships becoming stagnant. And relationships can do the same thing. If you are in a relationship with someone and you don't feel that during your relationship you have grown any, like if you've been with a person for say 5-10 years, I'll shrink it back. Say you've been with a person for a year, 2 years, and you feel you're still the exact same person you were when you started dating them, and they're still the exact same person they were when you started dating them, then maybe you should really think about this relationship, because there's been no growth. You guys have been together for 2 years and you're still the exact same people you were when you started dating. Like, how does that even happen? How is there absolutely no change in who you are in the 2 years you've been with somebody? In every relationship, there's an amount of give and take and compromise. So there should have been something to make you better or worse in the last 2 years you've been together. Number three, thinking about my partner makes me feel content and happy. Now, I know it's not always going to be times when you think about who you're dating and it's going to put a smile on your face. There are going to be times when you think about who you're dating and you're just going to be like, I hate your ass. But that's any relationship. At least it should be. Anybody that tells you that they never get upset with the person they're dating, they're either lying to you or the person they're dating isn't real. Or they're so in love that they're just delusional. That's just the reality. Because there's always something. You may not realize it, but there's always something that the other person in a relationship will do that will make you just be like, I can't believe you do that, and I allow you to do that, and it annoys the shit out of me. But you know why you let them do that? Because you love them. So that's why you let it slide. But you do notice it. If someone tells you that there is nothing their partner does that pisses them off, walk away, because apparently they are just all kinds of delusional. You need to call the man in the white van to come put them in a padded room because they are crazy. Number 4, I feel good about myself when I'm without my partner as well as when I am with them. It's not an addition. And what this means is basically when you and your partner are not together, you're still you. You're all right. You're okay. You still feel like you're your own person. You don't have to be with them in order to have an identity. You're still you whenever you're not with them. If you and your partner are separate and you feel like you're just lost in the ocean without a raft and you don't know what to do, you're a child in the world and lost in the wilderness and oogie boogie and your life is going all crazy, like, then you really need to think about being single, because you have no, you've lost who you are in your relationship, and that should never be the case. You should never look at your relationship and not know who you are anymore. You know, if, for the sake of argument, let's say this, if you and your significant other are in the same room and your significant other is on one side of the room and you are on the other side of the room and you get upset because your significant other is not sitting next to you, you have a problem. If you can't be in the same room with your significant other without them sitting directly next to you, without you feeling some type of way, you have a problem. You need to go ahead and probably think about leaving the relationship you're in, because you have no identity outside of this person, because you can't be in the same room with them without them being right next to you. There's something wrong there. If you can't identify that on your own, I've just done it for you. Take the hint. Number 5, I don't feel like I have to change for my partner. I'm free to be myself in my relationship. What this means is that I don't have to actually be what you want me to be. I can be me. Because this is how I look at it. We started dating because you like how I am. If I change how I am because you want me to change, then that means you actually don't like who I am, do you? So this is what's going to happen. I'm going to stay me, and you can kick rocks. Because I'm always going to be me. I like being me. This is how you should look at it. This is what you should think about. If your partner wants to change how you dress, how you walk, the food that you eat, the shows that you watch, your habits, the things that you do for hobbies, if they want to change any of the stuff that makes you who you are, unless it's to better yourself, unless it is something to better yourself. Like if you eat McDonald's 3 times a day, 6 days a week, and your significant other wants you to start walking the subway with them to get like a tuna sub and then walking home, that's okay. You need to do that because you really should not eat McDonald's 3 times a day. If you haven't by now, you should have watched or at least heard about the Super Size Me documentary and realized what McDonald's will do to your dumb ass. That is okay. But if you are a geek, if reading comic books and playing video games and watching anime or cartoons is how you relax, if that is how you identify with the rest of the world, if that is what you do, if that is what makes up who you are, that is who you are. Now, if your significant other tells you, I want you to get rid of all of your video games and I don't want to watch anime, if she don't want to watch anime or he doesn't watch anime, take your ass in another room and watch something else then. I'm going to watch anime. But If they want you to get rid of all your comic books, or they want you to stop playing video games for them, you need to really need to think about how much you actually love this person. Because the reality is, they knew you played video games when you started dating them. They knew video games was a part of your life. They knew comic books was a part of your life when they started dating you. Now they want you to give all of that up now that they are with you. Something is wrong. You need to think about it. Number 6, I love myself every bit as much as I love my partner. Which means, to me, I interpret that as you view yourself as an equal, not just an appendage in the relationship. You are an equal party in the relationship. Everything that happens in the relationship is 50-50. You and them decide together what's going to happen in the relationship. It's not they decide and then you just go, all right then, because that's not an equal partnership. That is more like a dictatorship, or a master and a slave, or dominant and a sub. Whatever titles you want to throw on it, that's what that is. You are not equals in that relationship. If they make all the decisions and all you do is agree with them and just follow along with them, and then every time you try to make an opinion about something, they get upset about it, that is not a relationship. That is a master and a slave, a dom and a sub, or whatever other term or title you want to put on it. You are not an equal in the relationship, and you need to walk away. Plain and simple. Because they don't view you, they don't care enough about you to view you as an equal in the relationship. What you say in a relationship should matter and count for something. It does everywhere else in the world. Who you vote for, where your money goes into a bank, what kind of car you want to buy, what you want to do matters everywhere else in the world. So it should matter in the most important aspect of your life, which is your relationship. If it doesn't, walk away. Number 7, I feel that my partner is a good person. I am proud of them. This is a very, very, very important one to me. If your partner is Dexter, or a drug lord, or child molester, or some other many variety of pedophile, serial rapist, killer, hell, just plain racist, whatever. If you can't look at your partner and think to yourself that that's a good person, and you think of yourself as a good person, you need to leave that relationship. Like, if you can't look at your partner and feel proud about them, like, there's something wrong. You should be proud of who you're dating. That's who you're dating. You can be like, that's my girl. That's my guy. Whatever. If you can't do that, though, yeah, maybe you should walk away. Number 8, I am happy for my partner when good things happen for them, even if those good things are nothing to do with me. And this basically means don't be a bitch. Like, don't be bitter. Don't be mad because something didn't happen for you. Or don't be mad that something happened for your partner and you didn't have nothing to do with it. Everything that happens in your partner's world does not revolve around your silly ass. They have a life. They had a life before they met you, and if you keep acting the way you're acting, they're going to have a life without you. So, if something good happens for them, be happy that something good happened for them. You know, and it might happen for both of you. Whatever it is, just be happy. Like, don't just be bitter. If your significant other gets a raise at work, don't be like, that raise don't mean shit. Because, trust me, I know people in relationships right now who are dealing with people who do that shit. Don't be that bitter bitch. Don't be mad. Just because your ass didn't get a raise or you didn't have anything to do with them getting that raise is no reason for you to be bitter. Quit being bitter. Quit being angry. Quit living that sad, soon-to-be crazy cat lady life. Let it go. Embrace the love. But if your significant other gets mad whenever something good happens for you and they didn't have anything to do with it, kick that bitch or kick that nigga to the curb. Leave that motherfucker alone. Because all they're going to do is drag you down into their pity-filled, hate-mongering ass world. And you ain't got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Let that shit go. Positive people. You know how they say dress for the job you want and you'll get it? If you want to be Batman, goddammit, dress like Batman every fucking day. If you want to be happy in a relationship, then date somebody who is happy for you. If you date some bitter, sad-ass, egg dried up ass midwife who can't never have no kids and just gonna be mad at everything you do, then guess what? Your whole life is gonna be filled with bitter, angry-filled nights of rage. You're gonna grind your teeth. Nothing is ever gonna go right for you because all you're gonna be focused on is, I can't stand that bitch, but I don't want to leave that broad. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Walk away. Number 9. When my partner is having a hard time, I'm there for support. This, to me personally, this probably should have been number 1 on the checklist, but whatever, it's number 9. I'll let it stay there. But this, hands down, is one of possibly out of the top, 10 building blocks of the foundation of any relationship. This is like number 2. Communication is the number 1 building block in a relationship. And I'll do a video on relationship building blocks just to be, so we can actually go over all of them. But this is hands down number 2. See, I'm even writing it on my checklist. So it's on my checklist. When my partner, I'll repeat it again so people can actually hear it and know exactly what I'm talking about. When my partner is having a hard time, I'm there for support. What this means, if who you are dating, if you can look at them one morning, say all kinds of calamity just happens. Shit just goes wrong from the minute they get out of bed to the moment they come home or whatever happens. If you can, at any point in time in the day, look at your significant other and just know that they feel like the entire world is on their shoulders. And for whatever reason, because don't get me wrong, every guy in a relationship, whether he will ever admit it or not, every guy in a relationship wants his girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever, wants them to look at them and think that they are 10 feet tall and fucking bulletproof. They want their significant other to believe that if the fucking sun fell out of the sky, that they will catch that bitch and put it back for them. But if for some reason you look at your Superman and he feels or he looks like he is wearing a fucking kryptonite necklace and the world is just on his shoulders and he can't do it, for whatever reason, today's is that one of those days that he just cannot pick up the world and shoulder it and move on. Help him. Look at him and just, if you don't do any more, then walk over to him and just give him a hug and just tell him, baby, it's going to be okay. You're supporting him. You have no idea the amount of help those few words will do. And guys, this goes for you also. If you see your girl is like that, even more so, dudes, on your part, if you see your girlfriend looks like she can't handle the day, if she fucking got out of bed and broke a nail and then her favorite pair of heels, a shoe was missing, stockings every pair of stockings she went to put on got a run in them, so she just put on a pantsuit, and then the jacket has a stain in it, and then the kids don't get onto the bus in time, she forget to pack everybody's lunch, and the car won't start, or there's a flat tire, or she ends up being late for work. When your girl get home, when you see her, you'll be able to tell the world is on her shoulders and it has beaten her down today. Just look at her and be like, baby, it's going to be all right. Growing up, my mom always taught me that no matter how bad it gets, this too shall pass. That phrase has gotten me through more bullshit in my life than half of anything else in the world. Because I always know that this too shall pass. I will always get by it. It is tough right now, but I will get by. You need to do that for whoever you are dating, no matter what the situation is. You don't have to tell them that this too shall pass, but you need to look at them and tell them, let them know that you're there to support them. Because nothing, to me, nothing will help a relationship deteriorate faster than cheating or the other person feeling like they're the only one making the relationship work. If the person you are dating feel like they are the only one that is doing if they're the one that always initiates the conversation that need to happen, if they're the one that's always initiating anything in a relationship to happen, why do it comes back to the situation of then why do I need you? If I'm always the one putting the effort forward and all you do is agree or disagree to whatever I want to do, then why don't I just be alone? But letting them know you support them, letting them know that you're there for them, if you look at them, and it does, now mind you, I've been told when I first went over this originally that, hey, ladies, if you look at your man and you know his day has just gone to shit and he's just beaten down like there's no fucking tomorrow, and you look at him and you're like, baby, and you give him a hug and you're just like, baby, it's gonna be okay. I'm gonna suck your dick and then the day's gonna be alright. You have no idea how much that will make his day better. Like you really don't. Like it will change everything. And dudes on your end, if your girl looks like she is beaten down and everything's going wrong, look at your girl and be like, baby, it's gonna be okay. I'm finna eat your pussy, and then the whole day will be so much better. It will. You never know. The day will be so much better. You'd be surprised at how just a quick 5-10 minutes of giving somebody some head will make their day better. And also let them know that you support them and you want them to feel better. That's it. Ta-da! So support the person you are with. Be there for them. Let them know you are there for them. It's always important. Number 10. This is a 20 list. I'm going to stop at number 10. I'll do the other 10, 11 through 20 in the next video. Number 10. Last one for this video. When I have news, whether good or bad, my partner is one of the first people I want to tell. Now, for this one, if something happens to you, no matter what it is, like I said, good or bad, if something happens to you and your significant other is not the first person you tell about it, it's kind of a sign. Like, and even more to a point, if the first person you ever tell all your bad news to is your significant other, you should probably think about that one also. Because all you ever want to do is dump your bad news on them. You never tell them any good news. It's always bad. Oh, my stepmom's being a bitch. Oh, my parents kicked me out of my house. Yeah, those are kind of personal ones. Whatever. Bad news. Like, if that's always just bad news. Like, go to them with good news too. Like, hey, I got this job, or hey, I passed this test, or I drew this whatever, or I fixed the carburetor, or I rebuilt this, whatever. Mix it up. But if your significant other is not the first person you always want to tell your good or bad news to, then maybe your significant other isn't as important to you as you like to think they are. I'm just saying. Like I said, that was number 10. I will do 11 through 20 next video. So I will leave you all with love, peace, and hair grease. Be good to each other. And if you can't be good, at least be good at it. Good night.